Woo. Woo, 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 woo. I feel like my mic is hot today. It's hot. It looks hot. Also, speaking of hot. Woo! My hair is looking good. It's looking good. I don't even have a sound alert for that, but this one is appropriate. I should turn the music down, maybe. It's hard to tell what the mix is like from the perspective of a viewer, because on my end, the music is a little bit loud. But I don't know how loud my voice is, so it might be a little bit loud. Why would the mic be louder today than it was the other day? It's the same mic. It's the same me. I would also like to make a disclaimer that I did not stan WeWork. I just stan taking WeWork mugs. Low issues with not issues, but like you should take advantage of oh wow okay. I have not done my Anki in a few days, and that is what we're gonna start with. It might be a few minutes before any other people join, so we're just gonna get rolling on this because the vibes are good. It's 11:19 in the morning and I'm streaming, so let's see what the Anki has in store. Say hey if you're here. One person is here. All right. I like to go in order from like what I think will be easiest to what I think will be hardest. I don't know why I do that, but so HTML. If you're wondering why I have the desktop version, the reason for that is not the desktop version, the web version. I have it synced to my computer. This version that I'm using is I'm using my partner's computer to stream. My partner is very generous in letting me use their computer to stream. My computer is a 2015 MacBook, which Leon said is one of the best computers ever built. However, not built for streaming. So I have been using it to code very happily, but I'm using this new M1 MacBook to stream. And you know what I can do with it is do almost everything except push from the terminal, because I don't want to. There's been a couple of like weird little things, just a couple of like idiosyncrasies, getting things set up where it's like, oh, you have a separate user and it should be fine, but sometimes it's not. So it's just me. Still waking up. All right. Assisted device elements. What are they used for? It's kind of freaking me out because I'm seeing like different things happening over here. There's a delay. Okay. All right. Close this. For now. Woo! Woo! Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Just typing to my fans. I'm just hanging out. Just typing. I'm just having a real hard time deciding exactly when I want to stream because I don't want to be on super early and not have anybody watching. Like, what's the point of streaming if you're not going to have anybody watching besides the fact that you're like implicitly creating content that you can reuse later? Yeah, I understand that, but other side of the spectrum is like I don't want to spend all afternoon streaming because that's often a good time to have like meetings with people and do some heads down work. It's really good to work on problems with people. I actually solved some really difficult coding problems on stream with help from the chat last week. At the same time, I have to do some prep in my own head and figure some things out on my own. So it's a little bit of a challenge for me to decide exactly what time I want to start. And every day is different, but you will see me here every week on Tuesday and Thursday between 11 and 2:30. The exact start time, though, that is variable. The latest I will start is noon. That's the truth. Something else we need to figure out is if we want this light to be white or this is kind of blue or this. I think the warm light. Okay. Assistive device elements are for accessibility, and usually that is M and strong. I find myself using M more than strong, but maybe I just like that, the way it looks better. The head includes metadata, SEO elements. It also includes some scripts. What else does head include? It's mostly metadata, right? Fonts. The doc type. Declaration. Opening tag, closing tag, and the enclosed text content. Okay. What's up, KT? Just chilling. Just going through the bank, or the Ank, which includes some bank. And, oh, look at this. Look at that. That's interesting. Should send them how this is partially covering the button. They didn't prepare for that. Right, so this is the value and you know what, I didn't do this for a few days and I have so many Anki cards to go through, so this is gonna be like an hour. And for some reason this isn't coming to me. Value attribute value pair. That's what I want. Yeah, okay. Woo. Woo. Okay, this is assistive device elements. Good. Blank are properties used to provide additional information about an element. Attributes? Is that what this is? Okay. Strong makes things bold. Yes, that is a system device element. The opening tag can include an attribute and its value. Oof. Apparently all of those are in the same little cluster of my HTML cards. So people who are stopping in right now, if you want to tell me about how many Anki cards you have, I'm curious, because some people are like doing 100 cards a day, and I just don't know how that's possible. Because I think I probably total have like 300 cards, and I am only seeing some of them like once a month. So you know, let's do an Anki mind meld. Sweet. It wouldn't do me any good to see them more often. So tech industry jargon, I think I need to add some things to this because I'm learning more tech industry jargon. Total. Yeah, total Anki cards total. And then maybe today. Kubernetes is a cloud-based container I don't really know what I've been trying to figure out what it is. Alright, so people who use Docker, they will switch to Kubernetes because it is more, because it's cloud-based. Docker creates an environment on your computer that can be, just the environment can be taken to another computer, so you don't have to create the same environment on another computer. And Kubernetes takes those clusters and puts them in the cloud. That's how I understand it. I know, Scrooge. Whoa, there was some hard brain squeezing. I got it to work though. Okay, maybe you know the answer to this. It works perfectly. It works perfectly on desktop. It's just a front end app. It works perfectly on desktop. As soon as I try to make it work on mobile, it's like the sound stops after the first letter. I can't figure out why that would be. It has nothing to do with the CSS. Why would it perform? Why would the JavaScript perform differently on mobile? It's just not something I've run into before. And it's probably something simple that I haven't thought about. I was going to test that today. Yeah, it's on GitHub. I can drop the link. GitHub is in my other profile. It's not pinned. Okay. All right. So I think that's the best way I can explain Kubernetes. Kubernetes. I don't know why it's elastic. I don't know what would be like if it wasn't elastic. It's just containers that are in the sky. But a lot of people use them now. Ephemeral. Ephemeral is a nice word, but that just means it's not gonna last forever. Ruby Does Ruby exist if it's not on Rails? Like, do those things exist separately? That's my good question for today. Yeah, so Ruby is... I kind of feel like it's so... what is Ruby for? I think it's like a web apps, like a lot of apps that are self-contained. Like one of my friends works for it's sort of like a social media network for doctors called Doximity, and their whole framework is built on Ruby on Rails. And he's always like, hey, how did the presentation go, Scrooge? Was it good? I know you're making like the cry smile face. That sounds very stressful. A mobile whiteboard. Mobile as in like you can roll it around your house. Anyway, he was saying that it'd be very difficult to change it to a different framework because it's, you know, once you go Ruby, you don't go back. I feel like this definition that I have is kind of stupid. Like, that's amazing. Congratulations. Here. I got my sound alert set up. I think there's probably a way for me to do this through Twitch, but you know, one thing a week. That's for you, Scrooge. Alright. Alright, let's not think about Ruby on Rails anymore. Okay. Kotlin is Android apps. Yeah. I don't, maybe I don't talk to a lot of Android developers, but I don't hear a lot about Kotlin. But evidently Coursera, Pinterest, and Postmates use that for their Android apps. You know, Java does a lot. I've heard people like shitting on Java, but Java does a lot. Okay. It's still working really hard. I did talk to someone who works for AWS yesterday, and she said she uses Java every day. Every day. A cheat sheet? Because nobody uses it that much. You need a cheat sheet because you're like, oh, Kotlin again. Yeah. Oh man. Okay. Anyway, some people have said, you know, eventually you'll need to know Java if you're working in backend. I don't know. Swift is for iOS apps. Blah. C# is... This is for games mostly, right? It's really heavy stuff. A lot of CS majors know this. And KT, I know that you will. I almost feel like it's, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but I feel like it's almost an inevitability. It's still morning. It's an inevitability that most people will learn a little bit of. Oh, that's helpful. That's actually I'm gonna add that. I have to open it first. Whoa. Microsoft Java. Okay. Yeah, okay, we got it. Gosh. What was I saying? inevitability that we will have to learn some Python. I've also heard that Python will make some things in JavaScript easier, and then I've heard a lot of buzz about PyScript, and then how it is terrible or good or just a... what's it called? A buzzword. Like, it's a flash in the pan. Like, oh, it was a good idea, but it's actually terrible. Which is JavaScript wrapped in Python. Yeah, well, enough of that. Alright. What should we do next? I had an idea to do a lot of Flexbox cards, and then I decided they were not that fun, and that I would just end up using a framework anyway. Yeah, I will definitely be learning some Python eventually. So here we go. I just got a little bit of my breakfast smoothie in my throat. So then she added more breakfast smoothie to her throat. So you must set the parent container to flex, display flex. That's correct. The difference between 1 month and 2 months, like, that's ridiculous. I think flex wrap is the answer. That's right. I don't know the answer to this. Flex properties refer to the parent. So this is a bad card because I put too much information in the answer. I'm sitting today because I went to the pool on Sunday for... I mean, it was great. We were there for 3 hours and all of our friends came, but I stepped on a thorn, and part of the thorn is still in my foot. I can't get it out. And I'm trying to decide if I should go to urgent care. Like, is it worth the, I don't know, $50 or $60 that it costs to go to urgent care just so they can numb? It's on the bottom of my foot, like, kind of where I stepped, and I'm like, should I go there so they can take part of, they can numb it? And yeah, it's not important to this stream, but that's why I'm sitting, because I like to stand while I stream, but, you know, whatever. So the answer is, like, half of them. Flexbox. The thing is, like, when I use Flexbox, I end up Googling it most of the time anyway, but whatever. Here we are. CSS. CSS has become a situation where, like, I know enough to make my websites semi-functional, and then the other part I, like, Google and copy paste it in there. I'm excited to learn a framework like Tailwind or whatever so that I can do something useful. Yeah, you know, I just, like, it's so tiny. It's like a tiny little, like, the most of the thorn, I took it out and I was like, oh, it's good, I'm fine. Anna. Is it, I'm assuming it's Anna instead of, like, how we say it in America, it would be Anna. But you let me know. And thank you for coming. It's so exciting to see new people. I'm assuming that you're not in the States, but if I'm wrong and you're, like, basically on the East Coast. Anna, thank you for being here. We're looking at my cards and my Anki that I haven't done for a few days. And we're also talking about how I got a little bit of a thorn in the bottom of my foot and trying to decide if I should go to the doctor or not. Because I can't get it out on my own, and I don't want to stab myself in the bottom of my foot and do it wrong and then have a bigger wound. I do have health insurance, so it would only cost, I don't remember what my, it wouldn't be the ER, it would be like an urgent care, but I think it's 40. But is it worth $40? Anyway, okay, so we're looking for, what is this, selector? precedes. I think it's selector. Oh man. Put some of the bank questions in here too. Okay. All right. So block formatting context is it's basically how you keep things from collapsing on themselves in CSS. But I guess there's a few ways to do this. So you can use a clear fix. You can use overflow hidden. But if you don't pay attention to block formatting context, your margins can disappear and your blocks will squish in together. And this is not a great answer. I need to work on it. This is the part that I need to remember with block formatting context. I know this wasn't important to us learning how to build CSS, but I know there were moments when this stuff was happening where like margins were collapsing and I didn't know why. And if I had a little bit of the context around block formatting context of the context, I might have been able to use this property in the parent to avoid this collapse. And so I'm not mad, okay? I'm not mad. But I really wish I would have known better. Okay. So let's restate this answer. So what is block formatting context? Block formatting context is part of a visual CSS rendering of a web page. Yes. So I don't actually need to have that in there twice. It's so hard, KT. I think I'm gonna take that out. Also, I don't know about the editing in this. AnkiWeb does not have dynamic editing. Knowing how to establish a block formatting context is important because without doing so, the containing box will not contain. Will not. How about will not support? I think support. Will not support. This is similar to collapsing margins, but more insidious. Okay. Entire boxes collapsing in odd ways. I think I can memorize that. I mean, maybe not the word insidious, but we can go with it. Wait. That's about as good as that answer is gonna get. All right. I feel like I ask this every time this question comes up. Has anyone used or made a CSS sprite? So CSS sprites are images that are composed of multiple images, and the way that this benefits the designer or the developer is that it renders faster. Is that correct? I guess I don't know if they're CSS sprites. Wonder why that's the first thing that came up. Are CSS sprites smaller files? This is from 2017. How about this? Okay, this seems like helpful information. I think my partner decided to take a shower, so hear some shower sounding noises in the background. That's what's happening. We're all in this together. Where am I? Here we go. I think that would be okay. So here is my explanation. I think this might be too much information. Oh, if you hear this sound, I'm not trying to do AS? What does ASMR stand for? Audio, sensory, mood, media, whatever. It's like something to keep me from getting distracted. All right, let's put this in here. Oh. There we go. I don't know if well, are these redundant, do you think? Or is this too much information for an interview answer? Because that's kind of saying the same thing. Okay, I'm gonna save it like that. All right. Whew. We're all over the place here today. I mean, in terms of like the difficulty of the question. Group. I think this is group. Yes. Okay. I already answered this. What is the difference between resetting and normalizing CSS? Resetting takes all the browser presets away and just gives you straight HTML. Then you can add any of your CSS on top of that. Normalizing takes anything that the browsers had and makes it the same. So cross-browser compatibility. That is the difference between those two. Typically you choose one or the other, but it has the same effect, which is cross-browser compatibility, so that when your CSS shows up on different browsers, it looks the same. So I was in a meeting with a couple of other folks from 100 Devs the other night, and I was like, oh, we could use Z-index to make this image appear on top of all the other indexes, and they were like, what's Z-index? And I was like, oh no. Oh no, are you not doing your Banky? I got worried for a second about them, but you know, we're all at a different stage of this process. So Z-index is, if you imagine a graph with the x and the y-axis, then there's the z-axis, which is the axis that comes out as if it were a 3D image. And so anything higher than 0 is closer to the user. So if it's 0, it seems flat against the page, and if it's like, 100, it's closer to the user. that allows you to layer elements on top of each other and create the I wasn't shaming them. I was just surprised because I I don't know. I had used I had used it for the BBC site, and I know you could do that in a bunch of different ways. It was just surprising. No shame. Anyway, so yeah, you can layer elements to create the feeling of depth on a page, which is really cool and fun and functional, and that's why we have it. Property names fall after a curly brace selector. Well, after the curly brace. Okay. 2 things to know about how block elements behave in CSS. They will try to fill the space 100%, and if they can't do that, they will stack on top of each other. Is that right? Yeah. 2 ways to show a parent-child relationship. Can use the caret thing. What, greater than, lesser than? This one? Whichever direction that's going, or space. Yeah. What leaves a type selector? Nothing. What code will force all elements on a page to choose the same width? That would be auto. Oh gosh, I always forget this is the answer to this question. Yeah. I also forget this because I don't ever have to type it out because it's in all my templates now. Display. Block. Yeah. Max width? Max width. Whew. Alright, we made it through CSS. We don't have to think about it for another few days. Let's do JavaScript. Alright. Right in there. I think that, okay, you get an array of numbers, return the sum of all the positive ones. So there's nothing to sum, the default to 0. I think that you have to filter out the negative ones. I think I use filter in this. Filter. And then reduce. Okay. I don't know how concat works. Okay, so we use the spread operator. I don't know if I have. I don't think I've used the concat. Reduce, you have to put the A comma B, A plus B inside of it to add everything together. It's one of those not, as far as JavaScript methods go, I feel like reduce is one of those that is not intuitive. But once you learn it, you can use it. And people say that the 0 is optional. I get into a lot less trouble when I use it. 3 possible states of a promise: pending, resolved, or error. Is it error? Rejected. There's a rejection because there was an error, I guess. Yeah. What are functions in JavaScript? Oh, I think I wrote this before I knew that functions are methods and also objects. The building blocks, the way you execute everything. Main building blocks. Okay. What is a fetch API command code return? JSON object. Yeah. Oh yeah. Let me get in there. Hold on. Ban you. Banned. Got it. I feel like my Nightbot should be able to ban that, but here we are. Okay, so the answer to this one is to... Oh! I forgot my dog was down there. Sorry, Ernest. Is to do the filter by the length of the boolean or something like that. Find the boolean, like whether it's true or false, and then I've had a few folks come through. Well, I don't know if they're folks. I think they might be bots. I think I've probably banned like 4 people? People? Okay. Single inheritance is like a direct inheritance. This is, I think the example I have for this is a phone call. Like a video call inherits the same characteristics of a phone call. But let's check. Yeah. Should be the most simple type of inheritance. Maybe you never saw it before because other streamers have better mods. Alright. Oh, I think this is the answer to this is just JavaScript. Yeah. What is a prototype in a JavaScript? It's like an object that other objects refer to like check themselves against for what they are. Where? Fallback source of properties. It's basically a silly thing, is what I said. What is a typical outline of a function declaration? I mean, you have like function, the name of the function, the parentheses, so the parameters, then you have the curly braces, and then you call whatever, you know, you want it to do inside of there. So I think I have a console log set up in here. Oh, an alert! Alert! They are built into the web API environment. Stretching. Okay, good. How does split work? Split takes an index and splits the array at the index. What? No. Try it again. When I use split in like code words, I know exactly how to use it, but when I see it in my deck, I'm like, I don't know how to split. Split, I never heard of it. It is a synchronous, single-threaded blocking programming language. It's almost like I've been studying. Premise. What is a premise? Is it an API? It is an API, right? Like it's something that sends. You want a response. You get a response. I think I probably knew this a week ago. The fact that I have this in all caps makes me think maybe I didn't remember this a week ago also. Alright, we'll look at it again. Why are callbacks less likely to be used now in modern versions of JavaScript? Because we have async await, and also because of the callback pyramid of doom, callback hell, because it's difficult to read and sucks. Yep. The DOM is actually a web API. Good. It means that it can't get out. It's stuck in there. That's what they call it, KT. Last index of... it really literally just tells you the index of the last location where that element is found. How does join work? You put whatever kind of thing you want it to join with inside those parentheses, and then it will join it, all of the array elements into a string with those. I don't know why I used that example. Abstraction is when you kind of hide things from the user. So I think the example we use here is a phone, like the camera on your phone, so that like you don't need to know everything that happens when you click the little camera icon on your phone to open it and like pull up the camera, open the camera, take the picture. Like there's a shit ton of code that goes into that, but actually the user has no idea how much is happening behind the scenes, because that is abstracted. And I didn't have that example there, but it's in my head. The basics of async await syntax is you put async in front of the word function, so it tells JavaScript that it's going to be a function that you're waiting for something to happen, and then you tell it at the very end when you're calling that thing to await it. So I did get some hands-on experience with this with my Morse code. I really did, and surprising no one, it works. Async function, you tell it what you're awaiting. So you're not going to resolve it until you receive this. And it can get way, 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 way more complicated than that, but try not to make it too complicated. Or an argument. It's called a higher order function, which I think we're going to learn more about soon. This. Which one is the higher order function? The callback? No, the event listener is the higher order function. Because it takes another function as an argument. I think that's right. Yeah, I think so. Return the summation of a number. I think this is just a mathematical. This is a mathematical. And I don't remember exactly. It's like n times n minus 1 divided by 2 or something like that. It's just math. N times n plus 1 divided by 2. Well, you know how we love math here. Term for the word listed inside of the parentheses. Parameter? That's a trick question. It could also be argument. Multiple inheritance. Okay, so in this case, it's referring to something that is getting information from more than one place. So it could be. I think the example that we're using here is like an Instagram story. So you're getting information from the camera and you're getting information from the filter. So it's inheriting information from two sources. One child, two parents. Okay. Multi-level inheritance. That's where you don't just go up to your parent. You're going up to grandma, like Leon likes to say. So not only do we have I think, we look at prototypes in this case, but I think the example I have is email. So email itself, like the whole idea of email would be like the parent, the grandparent, and then you can have specific types of email like Gmail or like your specific version of email, like primary mail. So email itself, like how email works, is the prototype, or the grandparent, great grandparent. But then like Gmail, how Gmail works, is the parent, because all different types of how people use Gmail, but how you specifically use Gmail, that's the child. Just going with it. What methods handle the fulfillment and rejection of a promise? So this is specifically with a fetch, I think. So this is a then and a catch. Because we catch errors. We catch errors here in JavaScript. What did jQuery give us? Why is this in here? jQuery JavaScript? I guess maybe it is. Cross-browser compatibility. But we don't need it anymore because the ECMAScript console. How do you add to the front of the array? Unshift. Okay. So I think this is repeat. Repeat is a function. It's in repeat s, or s repeat n. Is that n is the number? Yeah, s repeat n. Did you know repeat was a function? A method? guess I did. All right. OOP. We got polymorphism, inheritance, encapsulation, and abstraction. Doing that. Doing it. Hierarchical inheritance. Did I repeat this or do I have it in here twice? Okay. I have it hierarchical inheritance and then I have it split into single inheritance and multiple inheritance. So this example, yeah, you don't use it a lot. This example is like, you know, a text message has certain features, like when you text with your cell phone, maybe they all look blue on your side, but if you text an image, it's still gonna have a blue, you know, background to it. If you text a sound bite, an audio file, it's still gonna have the same like shape of a message. So it's inheriting like what a message looks like. It's the same as if you send just text. So it inherits the same properties of a text message, even if you are sending something that is slightly different. So it is what is it? Single inheritance, right? But it is also hierarchical. Element on the back of an array is a push. Use push all the time. Split works is, I remember this time, you tell it how you want it to split. Like if you want to split on the spaces or the commas, or if you don't want it to split in any particular place, you just put the quotes with nothing in between them, and then it will split it. Promise is an object that is awaiting an answer. Is that what it says? An object that may have value in the future. Okay. OOP stands for object-oriented programming. Good. Oh, yeah. Why would you use the Fisher-Yates algorithm to shuffle an array? Yeah, the caps lock is strong on that one card. Apparently, I don't like to remember it. Fisher-Yates algorithm is really handy if you have a big array and you need to shuffle it in a mathematically true and deep way. So it is a proven way to like have a true randomizer. I guess there's some like limitations to random math when you get to like a certain size. And just but it's hard to memorize, so you should keep it somewhere. And it will shuffle within it, so you can create a new array that will be shuffled and use it somewhere else, which is something different that you might need sometime. Removing off the front of the array is shift. And then that was the whole deck. JavaScript, we did it. All right. We're gonna do backend and then we're gonna do Banky. All right, what does REST stand for? Oh boy. Okay. I don't remember. Anybody know what REST stands for? Oh, I don't got this. All I can think is restitutional. I should have been doing at least the back-end cards more often because they are not in my head yet. gonna do it more than once today, I'll tell you that much. Representational state transfer. How would I remember that? It should be reps. Right? No? So, petition to change rest to rep. Yeah. Yeah. It should either be res, RST, RST. It should either be RST. And they want it to be pronounceable. Should either be repesty, or do I even need to know this? Everyone always says REST. REST API is a representational state transfer. What does representational state transfer mean? Well-defined formats in order to increase I'm sorry. I have a master's degree. You know what? I don't know how to do that. I do not. I don't even know if you want this Anki deck. I'm gonna sound it out. Interoperability. HFW levels. I will let you know. If you have a Twitter, put it in the chat and I will let you know. It is disrespect. It is. Who puts that many syllables in a word? Interoperability. Oh, okay. Interoperability. I'm trying to put another T in there. Like interoperability, but it's operability. How they could you could just said like to help things work together. I'm having a little bit of stream brain. Also, Leon would not let this go. He would not let us read this. No. Alright, so what I'm seeing here is I should have just left it at rest. Interoperability. Of course it's a Stack Overflow answer. I gotta zoom out on my browser again or I'll be like, why is it like this? What is a SOAP API? Oh, the 90s. Alright, anyway. We're gonna be here forever. Good? No. Try it again. Where does the route for the post exist? Oh, this is like, you put the action in the form action tag. Just gotta remember. Okay. What server operation is read related to? Yeah, I should have been doing these every day. I'm like forgetting this stuff. Bad. Read is get. Get something good. Update is related to put. I remember this. If anybody needs help with this, you put. Okay? Helpful. For me. And my partner said you can remember the order of CRUD, and then you remember it's an alphabetical order of post and put. That's also another way to remember it. What does Express do? I mean, Express just makes everything easier. That's what I learned. Oh, what does Express actually do? I don't remember. It's a framework for building web applications on top of Node. I mean, I was gonna say that it makes Node easier, which is kind of what it does. Like, that's just what it does. So delete this delete. Oh. Okay. Create is post. MongoDB creates a database where you can put all the things and then you can get them back. So I was talking to an AWS software developer yesterday, and a very nice trans woman met at Lesbian CTAG, and we were having a chat, and she was like, oh, how do you like Mongo database as a database? And I was like, it's great. It's so great. I like it. I vamped for a second because I was like, I mean, it's great holding data up to a certain point. It doesn't hold like super heavy stuff. Like I don't think you can put videos over there or anything. But and then I was like, it's the only database I've used. But yeah, I don't know. It's really interesting talking to people who sort of assume that you have a certain level of experience, and then you tell them, you know, exactly what experience you have, and they still assume that you have a different level of experience, which is, I don't know, good or bad. I don't know. Anyway, Node is an environment. Well, it's a JavaScript runtime, right? I just love Node so much. Like, the more that I play with it, I'm like, Node, you were my friend. I think you were very fun and cool. And I think that is probably partially because I haven't had any issues with it. Knock on drywall. But yeah, I think it's really neat. Neat. HTTP gives you access to the server. What? Network. CRUD stands for create, read, update, delete. Is that what it's asking me? Yeah, okay. REST stands for representational state transfer. Representational state transfer. Interoperability. Haha. Just needed a couple minutes to make the words work. Holy guacamole. Alright, yeah. I will be updating my Banky sometime today. Alright. So let's see what we got in here. How do you serve a page with content in multiple languages? So there's a language tag. The first thing you need to do is build pages in multiple languages. So it's primarily for folks who know that they have users in languages that they want to build them for. So let's say you have primary users in English and Spanish. So you would have an English page and you would have a Spanish page. And then you would have the language tag that would allow your users to choose the Spanish page or the English page. And that's what would serve it. So there's like a little drop down and they can choose Spanish or English. Yeah, that serves it. That's good. I'm not doing it again. It's a visual rendering of a web page. Okay. This is exactly what I have on the other card. I should take one of them out. What is progressive rendering? So in CSS, progressive rendering is the I think the page renders as you go down it. Yeah. So that it doesn't have to all load at once. And this is a way to save data. No, is that wrong? Yeah, so there's different ways to do it. And it's especially appropriate for mobile first designs. So one thing that I haven't seen this for a while, but I have seen this before, is the lazy loading of images. Yeah, you got it, HFW. As soon as I figure out how to send it, I will send it to you. I have seen this before, but maybe not like for 10 years or so. It's like the image doesn't load until you scroll down to it. Above the fold is prioritized. I think that's something I still see. And then the async HTML fragments. I don't know you would see this as much. I think this is more of like a developer trick. So yeah. But this lazy loading of images, like, wow, that was super cool. Like, oh, there's the cat photo up here, and then you scroll down a little bit and you're like waiting for the next cat photo to load. Man. We lived through so many. I don't know how old all of you are, but do you remember when like it would take probably like 15 minutes for a big image to load on a page? You'd just be like, well, I'm gonna go get another drink and maybe like eat a meal, and I'll come back and see if this image that I really want to see is like, because it's like half of the page. And you can watch as like each line of the image is like filling the page. And you're like, I really wonder what Britney Spears looks like in this outfit because I'm a teenager. You know, it's like, I might not know until after dinner. Gosh, the 90s, they were so hard for us. Okay. So CSS Selector Specificity is basically you're telling CSS how important each selector is on the page. And so based on type, class, ID, and a few other little things, you can tell CSS how to give different elements importance in how they're perceived, rendered on the page. So I guess how it works is, how did I write it? So the more specific that something is, the more important it generally is. And is this related to the cascade too? I don't know, explaining the cascade is also, I think a cascade should be related to this. So in a CSS document, as you go down the page, things at the top of the page can be overwritten by things that go down the page. So if you have something that's a class at the top of the page and you add a bang important, or no, bang important overrides everything, but if you add something down the page that overwrites something at the top of the page, like, you can get yourself into a little bit of a noodle because you're like, whoa, I thought I had that paragraph taken care of in this selector, and honestly, that's why CSS sucks. The end. Think that would be good in an interview? No, I'm not doing it again. Controls the vertical stacking of order of elements that overlap. So the most commonly used clearing technique that I've used is clearfix, because I have built a few websites primarily with floats, and that clearfix is the easiest way to keep different block elements from overlapping onto each other. It works very well if you know what you're doing. It can also not work well. There are a couple of different clearing techniques that I have written here that, yeah, this is what I was thinking of. There's an empty div method where you basically just create empty divs, like blocks, to keep your blocks separated. And then the overflow hidden method, which we did talk about in the block formatting context. That is how you can keep margins from collapsing. But yeah, primarily we use clearfix and floats, and I don't want to talk about it anymore. Sprites we already did. Floats. Floats were originally designed to keep words, text on a page, from running into images. So that was the whole reason we had floats, was to have words floating around images. That's what they're for. That's where they were designed. Everything else that you do with floats is a hack. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise. But how they work is they basically use margins and padding to keep block elements from taking up the whole space. And so you can create a whole website with floats and clearfix and different percentages of things. And it can look pretty nice, but there are better options these days. Like I said, good luck. Oh my gosh, we're almost done, I think. So when would you use a source set attribute in an image tag? Put everybody to sleep. When would you use a source set attribute? I think the second part of this question is a little interesting. Personally, so I didn't learn about source set attribute until I started using the bank to prepare for software engineering interviews. But evidently it's a really helpful way of telling your code, or telling your, basically you can say like, okay, this is for small screens, this image is for small screens, this image is for medium-sized screens, and this image is for, you know, laptops or bigger. And then you have 3 different sized images. So then small screens that have small, I mean, assuming mobile screens have less data, like they're not even trying to load a larger image. So it's great for mobile first design. It's great for being respectful of, you know, data limitations. Welcome, Ghost. Thank you for the follow. We're just hanging out, talking about bank questions. And then you have the browser sees these different options and then chooses the one that is for the appropriate screen size. Yeah, so, whoa, I have a lot of words here, but I think it's nice for everyone except for you in the initial initial setup where you have to have multiple images. It's also really nice for if you have a really good screen, like a retina display, you can have a higher quality, smaller size file for mobile screens. That's what this is. Boop, 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 boop. So I get a little bit confused with this question because some people put the Javascript after the body, and I haven't noticed any changes in terms of like load times or rendering, and that's the way I was taught to do it. I do occasionally see the JavaScript before the body, but yeah. I have always seen the CSS links in the head because that helps with rendering. You definitely want the pictures on the page so people can see the design of the page. And I do know, so the exception would be putting the JavaScript after the body, and otherwise I don't know of any exceptions. So if anybody in the crowd, little tiny crowd, if you want to tell me of any exceptions, I'm open to that. And I don't know why I have this bold. A doc type tells the browser, the web API, what to do with the file. Yes, welcome, Ghosts, and welcome, Ghosts, welcome. That answer was too long, but I am trying to parse them a little bit. Parse them down? Pare them down. Did you say pare them down? You said pare them down. Is a pair like a pair? Is that the... Whoa. I'm having like pair multiplicity right now. Is it pair like... Hold on. Is it pair like pair? Pair. Pair. Is this pair? This is the pair? Yeah. Yeah. Why did English need 3 pairs is the real question. Here to confuse everyone. So I did learn about a doc type that will automatically downloads things, and I want to use this for my 100-hour project. So I need to do a little bit more research on like how you do that, because one of the features of my 100-hour projects is going to be a reporting feature. So users will be like tracking something, and then at the end of whatever they're tracking, they can push a button and then get a CSV of their report. And I want that doc type to be an automatic download. So I do need to know what that doc type is so that I can code it. But I didn't come up with that on my own, so I have someone who told me what it was. I just need to ask them again. Oh, I keep forgetting the dog is down here, and he keeps kicking me. Alright. I did talk about this earlier. I don't, what do I usually use? Let me see here. Normalize. Just looking at a couple of my HTML files. And the answer is I use normalize. I think that when you use reset, and I don't know if this is true, but maybe when I was learning more about how to do CSS originally, I did some things wrong and I had some funky things happen with reset, so I just stick with normalize. Okay, so the difference between cookie, session storage, and local storage. Cookies, they are super small, but they get sent over and over and over again pretty regularly. It's on refresh. I think so. Session storage is up to a certain amount of kilobytes, and that will disappear like if you close your browser. Like session storage will be gone, and then local storage will stay until you delete it, basically. Let's see the size. It's like 2.5 megabytes. Every request, yeah. I really would like to know more about cookies, like what they do. Like in a I'm taking your ad data and selling it to a big company kind of way. Like, is there any way I could use a cookie as a web developer? This song is a little much for me. All right, wow. Did pretty good on that one. Yeah. Does any, well, welcome Ghost, are you still here? Do you have an example for this one? I could not find a good example for this one. I guess I didn't look at this website. What was the question again? Oh, whoa. Script, async, defer. Maybe you're no longer with us because you're a ghost. Alright, I have a list of these. Semantics. Connectivity. I guess I feel like if you don't know what happened in HTML 3? how can you make a comparison? I think I need to make this better as a comparison. So data attributes are good for storing more information in elements. And the way that I have seen this work is when making apps such as a calculator. You can store like the information about the different numbers and or the different operators. Oh, thank you. Welcome, Ghost, for checking that. You can store the information in those and see if they are, or to connect them better to what they do on the JavaScript side. However, what I've found in my research is that they're not as useful as they were before. And they're kind of leaning towards being deprecated. And so I have some questions about these bank questions, like how often they're asked now, especially some of the HTML ones that, like, do people use, what was the question? I was like, this script async script defer, like, I have not seen this in action. And I know Leon was like, yeah, you're definitely gonna see things that you won't see in class, but you know, I don't know. There's so much to know, and then there's so much that's like, well, you can know that, but then you're never gonna learn it. Yeah, but like what part of the bank? Because there's that part of the bank, and then there's like this part of the bank, node, and then CS theory. Like, what is an algorithm? What is a queue? What is a tree with an IE? Like Brie? Or what's a tree with an EE? Like a tree. I need to get my butt moving down to this part. Demonstrate bubble sort and explain when you might use it. Demonstrate insertion sort and explain when you might use it. Demonstrate quick sort, one word, and explain when you might use it. Hey, we know what a queue and a stack is. Okay, that's something. Yeah, they do. But I mean, I don't really want to interview for front end participant anyway. I don't know what globals are. Do I know what globals are in Node.js? I mean, I know you can have an event or a node module that is global, like it applies to all. I've been in a spate of like accidentally talking to people who were computer science, like deeply computer science people, and oof, the vibe is different. Well, that, and then the one decaf coffee chat I had last week was like someone who had a doctorate. They have a doctorate in history. And then they were like, I'm going to do a boot camp and get into tech. So then she did a boot camp and applied to be a software engineer like a bunch. And then just ended up not getting a software engineering job. Okay. She works in the Bay Area. So she's competing with all these people in the Bay Area. But basically what she said to me was like, maybe you should try technical writing. And I was like, maybe you should not tell me what to do. Anyway, what was I doing? Oh yeah, I think I answered this. Okay. Oh my word. Yeah, the worst. It wasn't cool. It was not cool. It made me feel sad for a couple days. Oh, look at all these zeros. Oh, wow. Okay, when did I start the stream? I told you it was gonna take an hour. Yeah, it sounds like her soft skills did keep her from being hired. I think that she didn't have a bank, okay? She didn't have networking, okay? She didn't have thousands of 100 devs like cheering her on. And it kind of sounds like she gave up on the dream. It also sounds like she had a family to support, and so she was like, I just need a job. Yeah. I just have this dog that keeps kicking me to support, so. Poor Ernest. He looked at me like, what? You're kicking me too. Oh, gosh. Ooh. I feel like it at a marathon. Alright, I gotta take like a 5-minute break. I'll be back in a sec. Okay. Thinking about adding to that bank. Thank you, welcome ghosts. Oh, Brandy, what's up? It's just a regular Tuesday. All right. Yeah. Last week was wild in here. I had a lot of coding. A lot of coding. But not much learning. I mean, I learned about async await and like a gigantic function, but I did not learn about bank questions. So we are back on this vibe. I was just discussing with Crystal about their work has a retreat next week, but they're not talking about COVID that much, and everybody for their work keeps getting COVID, and neither of us have had it yet, and we are not really trying to get it like right now because it's summer. We want to have a nice summer, but it's a tricky thing because the likelihood of never getting it is pretty low, but also we've been doing a pretty good job of avoiding it and don't want to break that streak. Yeah, so, but you know, it's a first retreat for their company, so oh gosh, it's like a stab to the heart. We have a group of friends here that we've all been like kind of the same level of like protection. There's like 5 or 6 of us, and so we've had like a little bubble. It's been pretty nice, but now everybody's gonna just like the whole thing where they are just like, oh yeah, you don't have to wear masks on airplanes. That kind of just, because I flew to Kentucky in February when, you know, I went and saw my friend and I was fine. Everything was great. But now it's just like the wild, wild west. It's like anything could happen. Yeah. And when you can't trust the company to enforce, like, everybody is gonna have a test and everybody's gonna test negative before they get here, and like if you're not enforcing those things, it's fine if you had it, it's fine if you don't want to wear a mask everywhere, like that's your personal choice, but you know, if we want to have like a bubble of safety at the retreat, then that's do what you want with your own body, but like don't bring it here, man. That's all I'm trying to say. Yeah. Well, we have one friend who was like maybe a little bit on the far spectrum of like too careful, and she's like bringing us all like a little bit this way, but that's fine. We love her. All right. Yeah, so Crystal might not go on the trip, is what I'm trying to say. Where am I going here? Go. Alright, so let's do an EUE. I would like to have it all on one page, please. Typing. Yeah, but it's not gonna be all on one page, is it? Oh. So we're back at the bank. Probably gonna be here like another 30 minutes. Working on these. So prototypal inheritance is basically I understand it in my head, but I do want to see how someone else wrote it. And this frontendinterviewhandbook.com has a lot of the answers to the bank, but they write like 60 sentences. So the trick here is to get it into, they don't write 60 sentences, but it is more like you can understand it and then kind of try to condense it into one example. So all JavaScript objects have a proto property. I think it's interesting that this says, like right in the text, this is an extremely common JavaScript interview question. Like put a star by it, everybody. Boop, boop. Almost every JavaScript object has a proto. Maybe we need to put the just say it that way. I don't have that formatting in my Google sheet. Which allows the object to access the parent prototype of the object if the, I don't know, reference is better than access. JavaScript will always look to the prototype for n. What are we thinking? It would be called a property. Okay. Oh. If it is not found on the child directly. Sure, why not? All right, so the use is I guess the use is that you can refer to the prototype and so you don't have to like rebuild things that you know are in the prototype. I guess if you know properties are present in the prototype, you do not need to add them to every element, to every object. Listen, I'm just glad that my family is not trying to visit us because my parents are like, oh yeah, no one around us is getting it, so we're just not even gonna try to wear masks anywhere anymore. I'm like, oh, no one's around you, no one around you is getting it. Like, you think North Florida is just immune to this virus? My mom is just like the healthiest person ever, but like my dad. I mean, not to talk too much about COVID, but my dad had the Johnson & Johnson and then no shots after that. He had severe asthma as a child. He's got tiny little lungs. I don't know how big his lungs are, but he always talks about how he thinks he has diminished lung capacity. Just turned 75 on Sunday. Was that yesterday? What day is it? Tuesday? Yeah. I'm over here wearing KN95s everywhere. I got great lungs. I just don't want to cough for 6 weeks, you know? That's the thing I hear about, the lingering cough. I've also heard that 1 in 5 people get long COVID, and that can be kind of terrible. Well, the other thing is, like, there's a lot of infectious diseases. There's a lot of infectious diseases. Yes, that was very nice for me. That happens every few years, and it's really nice. Like in North Carolina, we got ticks. Ticks will give you all kinds of disgusting things. There's this not new disease called alpha-gal, which will make you allergic to red meat for 3 to 5 years. It's like, I don't want that. I don't eat a lot of red meat, but I don't want to like be allergic to it. Hey, Eric! Hello! It's just like, Eric, are you a vegetarian? I was just bitching about not being able to eat red meat. I was like, people who don't eat red meat are probably like, that's fine. That would be fine. Anyway, we were talking about other infectious diseases that you could randomly get. Like, that might be, people are fine with that, you know? They still go in the woods. They get bit by ticks. They're fine. But I think it's just like COVID was super scary for a while, so it's not going anywhere. All right. So do I need to say anything else about this? Does this adequately explain how prototypal inheritance works? Almost every JS object has a proto, put that in quotes, has a proto property. Pescatarian. I do love the swimming protein as well. I think I can just bold it. I don't think I need the quotes also. Which allows the object to reference the parent prototype of the object. I don't think I need to say parent and prototype. But is that kind of like defining the thing with the thing? Yeah. Alright, what was I saying? So, JS will always look to the prototype for a property if it's not found on the child directory. Directly. I had the hardest time saying interoperability earlier. It's like I just couldn't understand the word interoperability. So, if you know properties are present in the prototype, you do not need to add them to every JS object. Is that true? I mean, I guess, yeah, right? You would like to use them on. What's an example of this? Might be nice to know. It might be nice to know. That's not my accent. You never know what's gonna come out of here. You refer to the parent as well as the built-ins as a prototype. I'm just gonna put it back. Is this what it says? Well, they use parent and child in this example. This music is like ending. Oh, it was like video game light. Where is it? Alright. Oh, you were really just here for like a minute. Hopefully you can come longer next time. I appreciate your input on what constitutes a parent and a child. I just only think of Leon's example of the Bluetooth. So if your Tesla that you have doesn't have Bluetooth, but the prototype does have Bluetooth, then am I remembering it right? Then JavaScript will look to the if you're asking it for Bluetooth, and it'll look to the prototype and say, no, your Tesla does have Bluetooth. Whoa. Whoa. Prototype. Yeah, maybe I'll change this to Subaru because I will mark my words. Elon Musk will never receive my money. I spell Subaru. Why did it know how to change that to Subaru? Never! In the car factory. This is gonna go super good in an interview. Okay. Hey, I don't know what AMD or CommonJS is, so let's learn about this. The thing about Tesla right now is they are terrible to their workers, and they are also terrible to the countries where they get the batteries from, and a lot of their cars are not well made, and they sometimes spontaneously combust. So I don't know how long that's gonna last. Also, I'm not really 100% sure that that man is sane. You know, he's got like some, he's not a genius. He's got some like evil villain vibes going on. I love sentences like this. I love them. All right, CommonJS is synchronous, while AMD asynchronous module definition is obviously asynchronous. Okay, everybody see this? Okay, I'm gonna make it bigger. Woo! My word. This is also like an opinion question, right? Oh, where did we go? Oh boy. Alright, where are we at? Sorry, I lost it. There it is. Is that big enough? It should be big enough. Both are ways to implement a module system. Okay, once again, this is a question I'm like, so, which was not natively present in JavaScript until ES 2015. So does anybody still use a Java module system? If it's natively built into JS now? Back to the Google. Does JavaScript have a native module system? Oh. 2016. Are we in native? Is this native? Oh, this is new. This is new. Okay. I'm gonna zoom in again for everybody. Oh, okay. Sometimes I think that this is not a good enough in terms of accessibility, the contrast between the black and white on this page is not, it swims a little bit for me. Yeah. Oh, I have heard about Babel. Or Babel. Babel? Babel. Oh, this article is not super helpful. Okay, introducing. Oh no. I guess I need to know what the question I have is. Do people still use these? So, CommonJS and AMD-based module systems. I have only heard of people using Babel. Yeah. I like dark mode, but this is not good dark mode. I like dark mode when it is more like where's my other browser? Did I close it? GitHub's dark mode is pretty good. Like if you put them side, well, okay, it's gonna be mad at me if I do that. If you put GitHub's dark mode and this is what we need to do today apparently. If you put GitHub's dark mode code. Oh, okay, that's too bright. Hello? Okay, sorry everybody, just yelling. Just want to look at a piece of code. I feel like GitHub has been moving things around. No, that still looks pretty bright. It's just the contrast is a little bit better than this, but maybe not. Anyway. Hey Sprockets. Welcome. Yeah, I like gray font better. This white on gray. White on gray. I almost feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, but this GitHub is bluish. Is it like a bluish black? And the font, I mean, this font is not. Some of these color choices are white, but I don't know if the README is, the README is pretty bright. I can't completely disagree with you, Brandy, but we're not gonna fight about it. I'm not gonna fight. I'm not fighting anyone. I didn't come here to fight. I came here to figure out what CommonJS. Oh, but see, like compared to this. entire computer is too bright. I'm just gonna turn this. Turn it down. Okay. Are these all? Oh, now see this. This is a good contrast. Does everyone agree that this is a good contrast? I'm gonna give them some applause. Good job, Babel. Good job. You did it. You did it. I'm proud of you. I don't think this is answering the question. Okay, back to the question. Common.js is synchronous while AMD is... Oh, wow. Yeah, that sentence that I hate. Common.js is designed with server-side deployment in mind, while AMD is more intended for browsers. AMD syntax is verbose. Common.js is closer to Sally would write. If you served all your JavaScript in one concatenated bundle file, you wouldn't benefit from the async loading properties. Yeah, welcome Ghosts. Like, why are we using pure white? I mean, don't tell the ally people, but like NBN did this whole redesign and it's not great. That's correct. Agree. 100. Okay. I'm so curious about this like first person approach to this question. I know that the question is first person. What do you think? You know what I'm looking forward to is Leon's answers to all these questions. You know something else? He said he was going to give them. He did. Before break, he was like, yeah, I will release the bank. And I was like, ugh. He said, I'm going to release the bank answers, but it's better if you do them yourself. And you know what I said? I might not be done with them by the time you release them. It's really not. It's just, I don't understand. So, the thing about this stuff is, like, I feel like it's not something we need anymore. So why would I have an opinion about it? Sprockets, I feel you. I feel you. I mean, I don't feel like my answers are... Yeah, that's a great... You know what, Brady? As I understand it, this is not even needed anymore. Goodbye. The end. Now we use node modules and Babel whatever that is. Has anyone used Babel? I've heard people talk about putting Babel on top of things. I should find out what Babel is. What is Babel? Compiler. I already looked it up. What does it do? What is next generation JavaScript? Like, I don't care. Stop asking me this question. Yeah, Leon has mentioned compiler. Has he? Alright, I'm gonna go back to Google. Don't want Babel docs. Transcompiler. Yeah, but okay, that's how we learn. Rabbit holes help you learn, at least at this stage in our education. Gonna zoom in for everybody. Also, look at this font. I mean, come on. That is some 90s. Whew. Wow. I was going to talk about my branding because I need to update my branding for this stream, but like... a video game, or like, you know, like, yeah, or like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like that whole like, we were riding this super fast on a wall. Okay, so what I'm learning is that you need something like Babel to take your fancy JavaScript from the newest version, ES6 Plus, to make it work on systems that are using old versions. I don't know what the word transcompiler use means, but it means that it kind of helps smooth things over, which makes sense because Babel was a place where different languages were spoken, and don't everybody spoke the same language, and then they it's a Bible story about Babel, but maybe that's not what they're referencing. I don't know. Okay, let me read this. I gotta go eat lunch in a minute, but I'm gonna try to read this, and then we can... Is it the Babelfish? But what is the Babelfish referencing? Now that's the real question. Third paragraph. Babel plugins transform syntax that is not widely supported into a backward compatible version. Sounds like Babel could be really nice. I personally have not run into a situation where my current JavaScript isn't working on older browsers APIs, but maybe that is something that is happening some places. Yeah. I like it. Feeling it. Alright, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this, babe. I don't know what JSX is, but I'm gonna put that in here as like a... No. my Banky is a mess, but it makes sense to me, and that's what matters. Cool. Okie dokie, Smokey. I don't know how I could test this and make it look cool. Babel holiday apparel. What would that? Oh! Oh, what? What? Do an arrow function. What? Any arrow function? Wait, no, I'm distracted. The part of me who lives in a consumer society really wants that. You let oh function lunch, and then I don't want to eat. I want to eat lunch, and then when the const is food equals 0 or this, and then we want to make food, and then it's the same still, and then the answer is to take return vegetables dot map, and then we do x to x times I don't know, it's not doing anything different. Is that not still an arrow function? Console log lunch. No. Alert. Alert! I don't know what I'm doing. I was trying to make something up. I need, break it. Well, I'm sure it's really cool if you have an actual piece of code that you want to use. Drop your code in the chat. Oh, maybe it did reconstitute it. No, Babel, we were looking at Babel. Don't watch us look at Babel, rascal. We were looking at Babel because we were looking at this question. No, yes. And that took us to a question about... Wait, what? No, I closed that, didn't I? well, AMD and CommonJS, and then we were like, I don't think that we need those anymore because other people use other things. And I've definitely only heard of Babel, and so yeah. That's where we're at. That's what we're doing. Okay. Well, not to leave you hanging, but I'm hungry. And I told Crystal I would make lunch at 1:30, and it's almost 2. Let's see if anybody is streaming. Rascal, I've been using your Lurkers Forever, Always Lurking app, and I think it's cool. It's very cool. I've been lurking on people, watching multiple streams at once. All right. Yeah. All right, I gotta go eat lunch, and well, welcome, ghosts. Thank you for coming. I will be back on Thursday with more of these things. Are you referring to Babel? I'm guessing you are. And yeah, and we had a handful of new chatters today, so yeah. Woo! I'll try not to have my Tuesday hair on Thursday. I get a haircut after stream on Thursday though, so you'll have to wait till next week to see the new hair. Oh, Webpack. Sprockets, I know you're always like retweeting and like being so friendly on Twitter, and I'm just glad that we got to hang out. It's amazing. I'm wearing my Protect Trans Kids shirt because it's still Pride Month. We should always be protecting trans kids. And yeah. Well, if I'll see y'all next time, next stream. Or I'll see you on Twitter, or yeah, somewhere else. And now everyone's like, oh, you have a chat overlay. Stream overlay, yeah. I know, I figured out how to do things on Twitch now, so I know. Get those emojis in there. You have like 30 seconds before I leave. Oh yeah, there it is. Well, I have these like, I have to build my own emojis. I was gonna talk about that today, but they're so lazy. They're just like, wee. All right, bye.